The new mayor in Nelson Mandela Bay, the UDM's Bantu Holomisa and the DA's Nqaba Bhanga, tells us where to for the two parties and the municipality. And what happens to wrongfully convicted people and who has to take responsibility for it. Later, the SA Book Fair tells us why this year's event is a must. That's tonight. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Shahan Ramkisoon. Jane is on assignment tonight. After a long and very ugly battle, Athol Trollip has been given the royal boot as Nelson Mandela Bay mayor. His replacement, the man he once fired as his deputy, the UDM's Nqaba Bhanga. So where does that leave the DA and the UDM as we head into elections next year? That's my question for both parties. What's yours? You can contact us on 011 759 6340. You can also tweet us using the hashtag #TonightWithJaneDutton. But first, Kathy's here with your news.
All right, thanks for that, Shahan. I'll stay a little bit away from what you're covering also as the top story. Of course, it's been breaking all night. We'll get to it in a moment, but let's begin here. Former ANC MP Feke Mentor is on the stand at the state capture inquiry in Johannesburg. Mentor being the first politician to publicly detail how the controversial family offered her a cabinet post. She revealed details about a meeting the president held after a trip to China. She says the meeting was taken over by the Guptas, who seemed to know a lot about her agenda. They first took her to the Sahara offices before showing her their Saxon World family compound.
He said I could be minister. I said, how so? He said the president was going to reshuffle his cabinet in the recent future, and Minister Barbara Hogan was going to be reshuffled, and I could become the minister in her place when she's reshuffled if I agree that once I become the minister, I would abolish the SAA India, South Africa, India, South Africa route.
Justice Minister Michael Masuta says he will help Fees Must Fall activists. They're calling for amnesty for all protesters who've been arrested. Many of them are still facing charges for demonstrations more than 2 years ago. They marched to Parliament last week to request presidential pardons. But Masuta warns that there cannot be an immediate or even blanket amnesty.
The minister has undertaken to assist the students in approaching the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, to consider evaluating each case specifically in order to determine the seriousness or otherwise of the charges. And 4, the Ministry of Justice will guide the students on the process of compiling applications for presidential pardon for those students seeking to make such applications.
And last on the headlines, the Gauteng Health Department says investigations into alleged corruption at Sowetan's Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital are in its final stages. Hundreds of workers affiliated to unions Denosa, Hospursa and Nahau marched to the facility today, demanding access to that report. They want their acting CEO to vacate his position. Workers are on a go-slow until their demands are met. This is while some patients were tended to, others were turned away and asked to return later this week.
There are bargaining council agreements. The first one is that if you are not at work, you won't get paid. So the no work, no pay rule will apply.
The implicated officials have been engaged, colleagues. As is normal process, if there are findings against you, you are given a chance to address those findings. So the process is at that level where the implicated officials have been engaged. There is timeline to it. Within 5 working days, a decision would be made.
Well, that's where we end off the headlines for now. Shahan, it's back to you.
All right, thanks, Kathy. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow. Well, Well, it's been a day of high drama in Nelson Mandela Bay. Trollip has lost his mayoral seat to the UDM's Mongameli Bobani. The speaker was also removed by a 59-60 vote against him. Victor Manyati, a DA councillor, abstained from that vote. He said he was going to resign from the party. His membership has now been terminated. The DA's Eastern Cape leader, Nqaba Bhanga, is on the line with us. He joins us via Skype, of course, to speak to us about this issue. Nqaba, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. You cannot be going to bed tonight a very happy man, can you?
Not at all, not at all, because something very illegal has just happened in Nelson Mandela, that a mock council, which is a farce, was convened by Mr. Bobani, the ANC, UDM, and the EFF, trying to overthrow a government, and unfortunately supported by the provincial MEC, Mr. Kasa, who instead of a mediation process came to impose an official from provincial government. His argument is that if the municipal manager does not exist, the municipal manager exists, is alive, is strong, and he neglected that fact that we have an existing municipal manager who was chairing that meeting, and they tried to undermine that and put a mock council. That will be defeated into any court of law because that meeting was illegal. And Trollip is the mayor of Nelson Mandela. He will continue to do the good work that he has been doing. What we are doing right now is that it's unfortunate that Councillor Manyati, because of the opium of greed, decided to be persuaded by the ANC and took whatever he took from them and voted otherwise. And now we have acted because on national television he have expressed that he have resigned to be a member of the DA and is leaving the DA, and the constitution of the DA allows us to cease the membership immediately. And then the federal executive met and took that decision. He was served by himself, his office.
And let's concentrate on exactly what happened in council today. You say that it was a mock sitting, which ultimately means you're going to challenge it in court, right?
There's no council. What we're doing, we're going to do our work. If needs be, we'll challenge it in court because it's illegal. It's not in line with the Constitution of the Republic. You could see it for yourself that there was no city manager in that meeting. There was no secretariat from the municipality. There was just this official imposed from a provincial government, meaning implying that the provincial government, which is another sphere of government, was presiding in another sphere of local government. It talks a lot about the involvement of the provincial government. It's destabilizing the Nelson Mandela, but we're focused because we are doing work as a city in changing the lives of our people. Nelson Mandela is a construction site, and we're not going to turn it back into our people because we've delivered services, and Trollip have been doing a great job. We'll do everything in our power to make sure that the Nelson Mandela municipality is not stolen again, because you can see that this is a group of people who have no interest of the people, but who are obsessed with power. And they've used one of our vulnerable councillors who have a criminal case in November. We thought that immediately when he loses that case in the court of law, in which we were anyway the DA, if you are found guilty by a court of law, remove him in office, and then they promise him a lot of money. Unfortunately, if I can be honest with you, we have been very close guy from me. He have told me that they've been offering them money for a very long time. It's correct when he's saying that. We've been persuading him to refuse, and we are well aware, and he's well aware of that fact that in his conscience that they give him something as he has explained it to me.
Well, he says that he doesn't have faith in the party anymore, and that's why he abstained from that vote. I mean, it obviously speaks volume about your members not being happy with the Democratic Alliance and the work you say it's doing in Nelson Mandela Bay.
No, it's not true, Mr. Manyati. For the past 3 months, the ANC have been trying to offer him monetary benefits. And he has said it to us, not once, he has said it to me. Remember, he was under my leadership when he left the ANC because he was faced with financial challenges. And then we trained him, we empowered him, And the problem right now is the fact that he have turned against us. It's a pity. We have tried to do everything to assist this individual, but greed, it's an opium, it's an addiction, and unfortunately, he have caught himself into that. We are going to soldier on because we are replacing him right now as a councillor. We will be 60-60, will go and vote, and will stabilize the municipality, will elect a speaker and move forward. And Ethel Trollip, we trust him, is going to provide us leadership as they have done as a mayor. Therefore, Councillor Bobani was just practicing on how to be in government, and he's not a mayor of the Nelson Mandela.
Mr. Bhanga, let's talk about how you've lost support in this DA-led alliance in Nelson Mandela Bay. The Patriotic Alliance also, once at your side, decided to, vote against you. They came out quite vocally saying they were no longer going to support the Democratic Alliance. Surely you realize you're doing something wrong here for your alliance partners to pull out all at once.
No, I was just speaking to Mr. Caitlin, is abroad right now. He's behind us. COPE is behind us, and the ACDP is behind us. After they've realized that we have defeated them in convincing some of the partners that the only direction, it's a coalition between these parties led by the Democratic Alliance. The only option they had to look for the most vulnerable, who have a criminal case and also who have financial challenges. It's unfortunate, this gentleman, that because of the opium and the greed in him, he decided to take whatever they gave him. And decide to turn his back into this caucus. And I thought Trollip tomorrow will be in his office, I'll be in my office, will be running the city. Anybody who attempts to stop us in delivering services, we are going to use the Constitution to defend the people of Nelson Mandela.
So why then did your members walk out and not defend your seat?
Because the municipal manager declared that Councillor Manyati is not, he declared the vacancy on the office of Councillor Manyati. And then what it meant to us, it meant that Councillor Manyati can't sit in that meeting. As he was refusing also to leave the meeting. We couldn't sit in a council which is illegally constituted with a person who's not a councillor sitting in the meeting.
What happens tomorrow when you have Mongameli Bobani and now you say Ethel Trollip going to the mayor's office? I mean, how is that going to play out? And how is it in the best interest of citizens of Nelson Mandela Bay?
You can ask that question to the ANC and the AFF. Why they should mock a meeting of council and constitute an illegal meeting, an illegitimate meeting, a farce, try to project as government. It's like a coup. Some of them have experience in the overthrown government. And we are not going to allow in this city. We're elected democratically. We're given a democratic mandate on the 1st of August 2016. We'll defend that mandate. We'll defend the Constitution. We'll use the institution of this democracy to make sure that we expose MEC Xasa, we expose the ANC, that coming through a back door is not going to help them. We are fair, our conscience is clean, because we're doing something right. You go to each and every street, KwaZakhele, Zwide, KwaMaxaki, Motherwell, northern areas, we're building roads, we're building houses, we're building centers. The people and the lives of the people have changed. We've put metropolis, we've improved the finances of the city. We have 2 billion rand in the bank. It was not there, it was zero. We've improved the city. We have a lot to defend the people, and we will do that. We are busy right now doing everything in our power to expose them, to expose that these people do not respect the Constitution. They will be exposed very soon. And Ethel Trollip's leadership is going to lift up his head and lead us every day, deliver services to the people and change the lives of our people. Councillor Manyati, his day will come.
I want to read you a tweet from the Democratic Alliance leader, Mmusi Maimane. He says, the DA and Ethel Trollip have worked tirelessly, to deliver services for the people of Nelson Mandela Bay. This municipality now has a bus service, a metro police, increased investment for jobs, etc. Today is the start of the reversal. We shall continue to fight. It seems like Mmusi Maimane has accepted defeat. Today is the start of the reversal.
He's referring to that illegitimate meeting. where people undermine the institutions of democracy, where an ANC provincial minister intervened in the sphere of local government. It's unprecedented, where an MEC comes and chairs through his official a local government meeting. It is a threat to our democracy, where there is a municipal manager in office is undermined and the laws of this country are not followed. As if the municipal manager is dead. He's not dead. He was in his office, he's available. He has expressed that he will convene the meeting on the 3rd, on Monday. But this minister, who does not respect the rules and the constitution of the republic, starts to try and impose it. We are going to show them that we are law-abiding, we are Democrats, we respect the constitution, and we'll use each and every avenue that is constitutional to expose them that these people are not really the true leaders they claim to be, do not understand what local government is all about. This is a lesson we are going to give them. We are strong. We are going to make sure that we mobilize as many people, including those who are not with us today, as we go forward, as we lead this city, to come in this train, in this blue train, and join it, because we deliver services for the people.
All right, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. That was the DA's Eastern Cape leader, Nqaba Bhanga.